Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 336 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
Oh, pretty good.
I feel like I've talked to you a lot this week.
Yeah, not like, you know, by the time we're doing this podcast, we spent like 3 hours playing mini golf last night.
And then we did the food time episode during the week too. So
I mean, we've talked a lot this week, but
we've we got to get another food time episode. So first of all, for those that if you haven't noticed, we did do a food time episode for the EPCOT Festival of the Arts, which I think was fun. It was a fun episode. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll probably do another one fairly soon here. There's some Disneyland ones out, but I don't know. I mean, we haven't really talked about when we're going to do another one. And then we also, just, you know, for everybody's information, we're also going to be, you know, I think a lot of you follow Dapper Danielle, and Dapper Danielle was on our show, I don't know, months ago.
Last July, I think.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was during the summer. Yeah, it was a little while ago.
Yeah, so we had her on to talk about her Magic Kingdom book, and then she said, "Well, I'm also writing an Epcot book, and I'll come back on to talk about the Epcot book." Well, lo and behold, the Epcot book is coming out, and so we're going to have...
It's out, actually.
It is out, yes.
So it is out at this point, and we're going to be having another conversation with her. So.
Yeah. So in the coming weeks here, so just keep an eye out for that. We'll give you more information when we get closer to it. That one's actually, we're going to do that one on video too. So hooray for the video lovers out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's exciting.
Be a lot of fun. Yeah. Her and her co-writer are going to be coming. Hopefully, I think we should have both of them. So, or co-author, I should say. So no, we've had a busy week here, Trevor. We've just been talking a lot and doing a lot of stuff, and not a bad thing. So, I hope everybody checks out that food time episode. That was a fun one. So
yeah, for sure. And we, as we said, we're going to start trying to do more stuff like that. So,
and we are, we're doing it. We're doing it, guys.
We're doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just trying to think of what else we have going on, Trevor. Is there any random stuff that you got going on?
Any business kind of stuff going on?
What do you mean business?
well, Disney business stuff. Disney's serious business. We all know that.
I don't know who sent it in the group, Trevor. Who sent it in the Discord? But I had to laugh at the pictures of the refurbished Kidani. Oh, it's Chris. Thank you, Chris. So Chris sent in our Discord some pictures of one of the refurbished Kidani 2-bedroom rooms, and I think everybody that listens to this knows that Kidani is probably our favorite resort to stay at, and it was due for a refurb. And those pictures look great. It looks excellent. I jokingly said, "You're welcome," because my dues paid for that reno. So a Murphy bed. I paid for that.
Hey, those Murphy beds are nice. Not going to lie. We know the difference. Like, my son, years ago, he used to stay on the little fold out Murphy bed that's underneath the TV.
Comes out of the TV. Yeah.
But then as he got a little bit bigger, he didn't want to sleep on that bed, and we ended up just using it for luggage storage because
he's got to be too tall for that bed at this point, right?
Definitely now. Or actually, no. I mean, he could still fit in it, but it wouldn't be comfortable because there's like no room to roll left or right.
Fetal position.
But so we use the couch bed or the fold out couches 1 year. And he being a younger kid, he was like, yeah, it was fine. He's like, it wasn't great, but then once the Murphy beds came, he was like, this is good. And also I can say too, when I went with my brother last year, my brother's a very tall guy, as you know.
He is.
And he was able to sleep comfortably in the Murphy beds, which I think says something. Like there's, if even tall people can be comfortable in them, that's a good sign.
Well, teenagers can sleep anyway, right?
Yeah,
I mean, when you're a teenager, you can sleep wherever. It doesn't matter,
I mean, my brother's, he's one of those people that, he's perpetually had the issue of his feet hanging off the end of the bed. And he was able to.
By the way, not saying your brother's a teenager. I was going back to your son, but
I know. But, it's all like relative. Yeah. It's, teenagers are the same thing. It's, they can be difficult to accommodate in hotel rooms sometimes because they're becoming adults, and it's fair that they
privacy.
I think part of it too is when your kids are young, you kind of like you get the good bed because you paid for the room, and because like I wouldn't be sleeping on the fold out couch if I paid for the room, I guess would be my take on that.
No, I understand that. Yeah, so, no, I get that. I get that. It's why it's hard. Like when we've brought family with us before, and we've quote unquote paid for the room, with DVC points. And
you still paid for it.
And we ended up not taking the master bedroom, and it's like, well, we probably should have the master bedroom, but we got our parents with us, and it's the right thing to do to give it to them, and
I mean, it's it is up to your discretion, of course, but my take on that is it's you should get first pick of the room or pick of the sleeping accommodations if you paid for the room. So even if you choose not to take the biggest room or whatever, you get first pick. But like I said, I feel, to the point of, Disney renovating these rooms, they're making it a lot easier that, there's no bad sleeping accommodations in the room. They're trying to eliminate that, right? They're trying to make it consistent that it's like, well, it doesn't matter which, whether it's the Murphy bed or the standard bed that you're sleeping on, that, you get the same experience, which I think is good that Disney is paying attention to stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree. Anyway, let's talk some. Let's talk some new. We got some interesting stuff this show. I think
some DVC. So we're starting with some DVC news. It looks like about.
It's DVC/DCL, right? Where we're doing a double
member cruise.
I mean, we usually don't talk cruise, but it's DVC related. So and I know this is a very popular thing with a lot of DVC members, and that's the member cruise, right? They do these member cruises that are DVC members only, and they just announced another one, which is in April of 2027. It's going to be a Disney Wonder trip. It's a West Coast trip, Trevor, for 7 days through Catalina Island, San Francisco, and Mexico, and then it ends, it starts in San Diego, ends in San Diego. So, it's pretty cool. A really kind of neat thing. If you haven't done these before, which I haven't, but I would like to. But these are, you can pay with points or you can pay cash, but they always sell out pretty quickly, right? And so if you want to book this, as a heads up, February 28th, that's the day. So, be prepared to call, and, because they are going to sell out, over a couple days there, but, you do have to pay in full for this at the time of booking. So it's not one of those things that you can do, you can put a deposit down, you got to pay. So yeah, but so be ready for that. But listen, these cruises are great. I would love to do a member cruise one of these days. I don't know, but we've talked about, obviously the cruises have come up as a discussion point for us. This is, I know you're like, hey, it's a West Coast, like, maybe you could do it. Yeah, but it's a 7-day, which. Well, I didn't say that you could do it, but
I feel like there was an implication there.
Not at all. No, okay. Honestly, there wasn't. There wasn't, because I know you guys have decided against it. So I'm not.
Well, again, it's not 100% off the table, but we've kind of, we were initially looking at it, and we kind of dialed it back because again, we made other plans, so this took a back burner, but. A 7-day cruise sounds that honestly does sound like I feel a 3-day wouldn't be enough if I did get into cruising. A 3 or 4 day doesn't feel like enough. A 7-day feels like the right amount of time to be on a cruise.
Personally, so I've said this before, I don't want to do anything less than 7 days. I feel like if I'm going to get myself down there and do all the stuff I got to do to get on the cruise, I'm going to do it for 7 days to make it. Otherwise, to me, I don't want to say it's not worth it. It still is, but it's like, it feels like a lot of work for, as you know, you get on the boat, you get comfortable, and then you're leaving again. You know, I don't know. I would rather go for multiple days because we, you know, obviously, I think I've talked about this on the show. We've been talking about what we're going to do this year, and we haven't quite figured out what we're going to do this year. And one of the ideas that came up was, you know, a couple days at the beach and maybe a shorter cruise. But I'm like, you know, I kind of want to do a longer cruise.
A few days at a beach and then a longer cruise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. And my wife's like, you know, we don't have like unlimited time off, right? And I'm like, well, you know, we can take some time off. It's not, you know, like it's not the end of the world. Take some time off. So, but you know,
you can push it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. So yeah, that's a little news item, but I know people. It's DVC, so you know we should talk about it. But I think the good.
Yeah, no, agreed. But yeah, and I know where you're going with the next one is we're going to talk about Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
but okay. The headline to this is Galaxy's Edge timeline soon expands at Disneyland. So
Disneyland,
yeah. So this is specifically applying to Disneyland. So this is Disneyland news, but I think it's still relevant to both Galaxy Edges.
I'm assuming they're doing this at Worlds too. I don't. It doesn't
I think
say in the article.
Starting it at Disneyland, and then you know, because the thing is that like Disneyland they do get different stuff than Disney World, but okay. The whole implication of this is that Galaxy's Edge has been stuck in the final trilogy timeline this entire time, meaning that, you know, episodes 7, 8, and 9 are reflective of what you see in Batuu. So you always see like Kylo Ren and like all the newer Star Wars characters. In Disneyland, they're going to start expanding out that they're going to include the entire 9 movies timeline into Galaxy's Edge, meaning that, you know, they're breaking their rule of no, you know, this is only for the new stuff and whatnot. You're going to be able to see characters like Darth Vader in Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, which I think is kind of huge.
Yeah, it is
when you think about it. I think there was probably a lot of feedback from visitors saying, you know, where do I see Darth Vader?
It's and I remember when they kind of revealed all this Star Wars stuff before they built it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time there was a lot of conversation around this because it was like, well, why are they doing a planet that doesn't really exist in the movies? You know, they're doing like a planet that doesn't really exist in the movies. They're doing a timeline that's like, you know,
it's stuck to a very specific window of the show. Yeah,
it felt very interesting to me that they were doing that in the first place. And listen, they were trying. We have to give Disney credit for this, in that they were trying to do something. I don't want to say new, but they were trying to do something different. Like, could they have shoved all of the characters in there from the get-go? Yeah, they could have. They were trying to make Galaxy's Edge and Batuu a living, breathing, immersive place that was real, you know? And so to do that, they kept it at that one timeline, right? Because it doesn't make that the whole timeline stretches out so far that it wouldn't really make sense otherwise, right? So I understood why they did it at the time, and I thought it was kind of a bold thing for them to do, especially with a property like Star Wars, right? You know, where they're just like, there's all this history here, and all these people love this history, but we're just going to do our own thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of was weird, right? But
yeah, it almost seemed like a little bit like they were hanging a carrot on a stick kind of thing. Yeah. That, you know, you're going to get Star Wars stuff, but you never actually get what you want from it, because it was like you said, it was their version of it. It wasn't.
You still get the Millennium Falcon, and you still get, get.
But again, it was all tied to the final three. Yeah, the new trilogy, which, you know, I get Disney's intent. I get them trying to keep, you know, build world consistency and all that, but, you know, I think. I honestly believe that this, like I said, it comes from feedback, and I think this comes from a change in their leadership. That, you know, it's less. This move tells me that they're realizing that, you know, they're not trying so much to push necessarily the latest and greatest thing of theirs, which understandably they should be. You know, they're always trying to make money off of box office and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're always trying to push it as their most latest. But the ironic thing is that the Galaxy's Edge actually went against everything else in the parks in terms of if you look at things like Sleeping Beauty's castle and like things that they built around IPs in the past, they and I mean, to be fair, like Sleeping Beauty's castle was built when Sleeping Beauty was new, but I don't recall them ever holding themselves to a rule of like, that you will only see like Maleficent around the castle. You will only see like if they had held them to that high level of like consistency of the story, you would not see characters wandering in Fantasyland. You would not see like half the stuff they see. Even like seeing like Jack Sparrow near Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff. Like you could argue all kinds of timeline consistency stuff, and so it's kind of silly that they made that rule for themselves around Galaxy's Edge, and it's kind of showing that it did. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot with a lot of it, because I know for a while people have been kind of saying like Galaxy's Edge is like, or what was the comment that I saw was, go here if you want to look at piles of space junk.
Yeah, I mean, but that's Star Wars, though. I mean,
but the thing is it was like you said, it was meant to be posed as like a living, breathing outpost. Yeah. But it's like, because of the fact that they could only do certain characters. It was like, large swaths of the park are basically empty. Like there's no character interaction. There's no nothing. But it's like, but you can look at, here's like a speeder that is half taken apart. Here's a ship of some, like it makes it look like more like a junkyard than an outpost. And the thing is that bringing back in, characters from different timelines, that gives them the ability to play with it a little bit more and to have the whole area be, frankly, more, or it has the potential to be more interactive, because like you don't have to have like, Kylo Ren having conversations with Hera from, Star Wars Rebels, but because, again, that doesn't make sense, but but they can have them in different parts of the park, right? Like,
And so for everybody that just, for everyone's information here, it starts April 29th is when it's going to start. And so we're talking Darth Vader, Leia, Han, Luke. They're going to be joining Batuu, and I don't know if are they just walking around, or are they this says it'll enable you to experience the Galactic Civil War and New Republic, as well as the Age of the Resistance and the First Order. So like literally you're just spanning the entire timeline of films, right? I mean, listen, it's Galaxy's Edge is really interesting to me because in a lot of ways, because it is IP based, but at the same time it was almost in a way an original thing that they did, right? Because it's in the universe of Star Wars, and the Millennium Falcon's in it, and of course all that other stuff's in it. But like again, it was a fairly net new thing. They created a whole planet that didn't exist, and
they tried to break it out so that it wouldn't be locked to like, this is like Tatooine and will always be Tatooine, right? Like
So Darth Vader is going to be wandering around looking for Luke. Makes sense. And stormtroopers, of course. Leia and Han are going to, it says Leia and Han are going to be reunited with Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca amid the rocky spires. Luke Skywalker will roam the outpost seeking knowledge of the Force and artifacts related to lightsaber building, kyber crystals, and more. Leia is going to be near the Millennium Falcon, where she'll recruit travelers and locals to help keep Luke safe. And Han will also, of course, linger around Millennium Falcon. So interesting. I mean, they're also saying too that some of these other characters like the Mandalorian and Grogu and R2D2 is still going to roll around the land and stuff like that. Ahsoka, and looks like Rey's still going to be there too. So they're just going to have all of them there now. Yeah. I mean, which okay, great. I mean, I it's funny to me though, because it's like I said, I was thinking about this because I do wonder. I think the general human being person, right, like that goes to a Disney park that isn't like really into the whole theme park and immersion thing, doesn't really care about the timeline, right? They just want to see Darth Vader walking around. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care that there's a timeline, right?
And you also have to be mindful of, which movies people have watched, right? And the reality is the vast majority of people have watched the middle trilogy, the episodes 4, 5, and 6, more than anything else. And
that's really what they're adding here.
Yeah, is that they I think they realize that hey, you're kind of leaving money on the table by not letting people meet Luke and Leia and those characters, but and again expanding out that world doesn't hurt. Like, it doesn't. No. They're not hurting themselves by doing that because some people may like the newer trilogies. I honestly don't know of anybody that's like, and this isn't to say that people like that don't exist, and if this is your opinion, that's totally fine. But everyone that I've ever talked to about Star Wars has been like 7, 8, 9 were okay. Like they weren't. Yeah. Some people didn't like them, but it's like they were okay. They were good movies. But 4, 5, and 6 were where it's at. Right. You still go back, you still hear quotes from like those original ones. You still see, or like people meme, I think, on the original 4, 5, and 6 more than anything else because they are just so old. Right.
I wonder if it's generational though too. Right. So I bet people, my age, your age, we're not far off in age, right? But would say those
grew up with 4, 5, and 6.
But I would bet you there's a lot of teenagers and such out there that would say the last 3 movies because that's what they knew growing up. Maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong. But
I would argue teenager or kids that are my son's age, like teenagers, we were introducing them to 4, 5, and 6 before.
That's fair.
7, 8, 9 even came out. I know for us, we watched the original trilogy before we watched any of the new ones because it was actually part of there was a phase where my son was into Star Wars and we were watching it. It was when Rebels was on, so he was into that. But then by proxy, that we're like, oh hey, there's these movies, and so we watched 4, 5, and 6 because 1, 2, and 3 are mixed bag of
some
good.
People love them though. I mean, I have a friend whose favorite movie is one of those. I forget which one it is, but yeah,
they have good beats in them. I just think 4, 5, and 6 overall are better. Again, where I grew up was seeing all 9 of them. It's like 4, 5, and 6 are still solid. Like, they're more solid than the other ones to me. The other ones have gaps and all that. And sorry, I'm going to start a whole debate on this, and I'm not meaning to, but
you are,
but the point is, you can, coming back to Disneyland, you're going to see more of these characters. I agree with you that this will happen in Disney World at some point, but I'm curious.
Are they testing it? Is that what they're doing?
I wonder if they're testing it. The other thing, though, is that Disneyland also seems to have that. It has that natural effect of roaming characters are far more prominent there, just because of it's like
a lot more roaming characters at Disney World lately, though. The past couple times I've seen a ton more roaming characters.
Yeah. You're right. They've been getting better about that, but I sometimes feel that that they hold back on that stuff at Disney World just because of it might be because of volume of people coming through and stuff that maybe they don't do it to the same extent. I hope that this is something that they start, that eventually comes to Disney World because I should be able to go to, Star Wars Land as, because I know it's Batuu and Galaxy's Edge, but people going to Star Wars Land, like I should be able to see Luke at Star Wars Land.
Well, that's why they're doing this, right? Because I would bet you so many people would be like, "Oh, I want to meet Darth Vader," and then they go to Galaxy's Edge. It's like, why is there no Darth Vader?
Well, and I remember because before all of this opened up, they had the what was it called? The they had that like that preview.
The launch bay. You're talking about launch bay?
Yeah. I wanted to call it Rebel Outpost, but it's called Launch Bay.
Yeah.
But there was a Darth Vader meet and greet. there at one point.
There was.
And so it's like, that kind of set a precedent. Like, oh, great, well, I'm meeting him here, so I'll be able to meet him in Galaxy's Edge. And for the longest time, they were like, nope, you can't do that. So
they also used to have at Launch Bay. They used to have the Jawas walking around, and that was actually my favorite thing. That was the coolest.
Oh yeah, the Jawas were cool. I mean, again, it just all feeds into I'm not there to see one slice of Star Wars stuff, like, and I think that's been the thing. Is it's like seeing Rey and Kylo Ren and all that. It's like, okay, but they're like, I'm not there to see them. It's
I mean, I know what you mean. I'm just saying, like, I also see like a lot of young kids like dressed like Rey or like doing the Kylo Ren thing, and like the whole internet right now is obsessed with the canceled Kylo Ren movie, right? Like, so like that's been going around too. Like, so I agree with you, but I also think that there is a generation where those movies are more relevant to them than the originals. I think that exists, and
that impact though and those kids, yes, there are certain kids that are showing up in the park, which, sorry, it's their parents that are dressing them like Rey and whatever, but it's when those kids are adults and they're spending their money, they can decide which one is going on in the park, right? Yeah.
So the other part we should bring up with this, there are other things they're doing too, and I actually don't like this change. I feel like this is just fan service, which I guess is what they're trying to do. But listen, I think there's nobody that will say that will disagree with John Williams' score for the original 3 movies is one of the greatest movie scores of all time, right? It's iconic. Yeah. Should it be playing around Galaxy's Edge? I don't know. Like I liked before where it was, because again, we're moving away from this living, breathing planet thing, and now it's just like, here's the music from the movie. We're just gonna pipe it in. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, that isn't that everywhere in the parks, though?
I know, but this is supposed to be different, Trevor. This is supposed to be different. Like, I don't know. Listen. I'm not gonna complain, because listen, the songs are great, right? They're iconic, so it's fine. That weirdly is a departure for me that I don't love. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Okay. I guess. I appreciate your point of view on that, and I never thought about like the music selections though as being something that would detract from the experience for me.
I don't think it necessarily will detract. I think it will. I don't know. It's just here's what the problem is, Trevor. If I want to do the immersion thing and pretend like I'm on another planet, right? Like, hearing that music is not going to do that for me. It's going to make me think of the movies, but it's not really going to make me feel like I'm on the planet. I want to hear like nature sounds and it's sounds of the planet. You know what I mean? Like
okay, I get what you're saying. I was thinking because I thought that like some of the music from it was from like originally from like the newer trilogies, and they're just moving to the older trilogies music. But what you're saying is that you don't want music around their period. You just want ambient.
I want the ambience. Yeah, I want the ambience.
You want ambient sound of like an outpost operating and like just background noise, not structured music.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I it'd be, to me, it's like if I were walking around Pandora at night, and instead of hearing like sounds of like the animals and stuff that are around you, I'm hearing a song from the movie. It's like, why am I hearing this? Like,
but there is music in Pandora.
Music. Yeah. But it's not like I don't know. This is too iconic for me. I think that's what my problem is.
Is it, or I guess maybe because it's clearly enough of a brainworm that when you hear it, it's like it immediately evokes like,
that's what it is.
Like all the stuff from
it's too famous. That's what it is. It's too you
I mean, they even say like one of the tracks is the Emperor, it's
like again, if I'm there and I'm immersing myself in this land and Darth Vader's walking at me, there's no theme music for a human being walking around. Like, I'm not walking through Costco and I've got like theme music playing for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how life works, right? So that's where my problem is, really. And that's what I guess what I mean, right? Because like, if they're gonna have Darth Vader like walking around looking for Luke, are they going to play that music while that's happening? Because why? Like, it's not what would happen in real life. I don't know. I know I'm being like ridiculous about this, but it just feels weird to me. I don't know, but now I do want background music as I'm walking around Costco. I want some sort of, I don't know what it would be. Probably some sort of frantic, crazy thing. But anyway.
So I was wrong. Someone's gonna come for me. I was wrong about what the Emperor music is. I was thinking of Darth Vader's music. The Emperor music is far more low key than that. Like it's not in your face, and it is in the same tone as Darth Vader's music. But I'm listening to it right now as we're talking. It doesn't. I mean, that piece alone would not pull me out of whatever I was doing. Be like, oh, this is from the show, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe they are being a little more careful with the pieces that they're picking. That it's not the like over the top. Because
no, but it's
okay.
I mean, it's the main title. The main title music is playing as you walk in. Like they have it piped into the tunnels. The main title music.
I mean, hasn't that always been?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember hearing
really?
that. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting it. I don't know.
I mean, there was always like a distinct soundtrack of Star Wars.
Yeah. I don't think it was that exact song though. I don't think they've been playing that. I mean, I don't remember. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been to Galaxy's Edge. I think we stopped doing. We didn't do Hollywood Studios last time we were there. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I'd have to watch the video.
So again, like I said, I'm quickly going through those pieces and I'm listening to them here as we're doing this. These are like very much background ambient music pieces.
Yeah.
Like they're not the in your face ones. So I feel that Disney's intent with this is that it's going to be it'll be subtle, but it'll probably invoke like, oh, this sounds like,
yeah,
this does sound like, you're in Star Wars or you're in, that, but it's not, I don't think it'll actually take you out of like being immersed in the land. I think it might actually help now that I'm listening to it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. I mean, I could be very wrong about this.
That's my opinion. Just like if you listen to a couple of these pieces, that they're not over the top. They're very subtle, very, very deliberately background music, I think is the thing. Yeah.
They're also changing, by the way, a couple. They said as Batuu's history is represented with new storylines, you may notice some updates to buildings and shops. So they're changing First Order cargo to Black Spire surplus. And it's going to have Imperial and Rebel items that you can obviously purchase for your, to bring home with you from the Galactic Civil War. They're also going to it looks like they're going to be doing some new merch in some of the other shops as well. Little changes, it seems like here and there. But outside of that, it's, generally staying the same. And then there's going to be a projection show. There's a projection show at night. So that's not new. They've had that.
I like how they feel like they have to immediately like retcon sort like again, to the point of like updating the shops is they say, an earlier generation of the Mubo family will operate the droid depot.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, this isn't the people who are operating it. This is the older people. So it somehow tracks with
I guess. Yeah.
I feel like maybe they're trying too hard and they should just let people
figure things out,
enjoy it in the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know.
Not everything has to have an extensive backstory, I guess.
Yes.
And maybe it's I guess maybe it doesn't hurt to have an extensive backstory, but I feel like they're kind of trying to hit you over the head with it a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I agree. All right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to see how this plays out a little bit more.
I agree. We did the food time episode, and usually during the food time episode, we talk about the popcorn bucket that's going to be at the thing, the festival. But there was no popcorn bucket listed. But now we can see the popcorn bucket, which for EPCOT Festival of the Arts, Trevor, and it's Figment, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
And we got a new Figment popcorn bucket here, and it's Figment Artist popcorn bucket. It's a Figment with little artist hat on and wearing is that like a smock of some sort? Is that, or no, is it a bow?
Tie.
It's a bow tie. Okay, yeah, but it has paint on it.
Color on it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bow tie with like colored paints on it, and he's holding a paintbrush that looks like it glows based on the picture.
It's a magic paintbrush, of course.
A magical paintbrush.
Yeah.
And
with an EPCOT logo on it of some sort. I can't tell which logo that is.
Which one it is. Yeah. Oh, it's the Imagination one. That's what that's
yeah,
right?
I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. Makes sense, right? Yeah. But it's a cool looking popcorn bucket. I don't know if it's going to create the craze of the original one back in a couple of years ago, but
the funny thing is like when I saw this, I literally looked at the popcorn bucket that I have, and it's the same. They just added the beret and the bow and the like it's the same design. So
Figment, right? So
yeah. But like my point is they didn't drastically change it in terms of like the the shape of the popcorn bucket. It
made him more Festival of the Artsy.
I looked at it and I was like, well, if I really wanted my popcorn bucket to look like this, I could just get a cheap beret and like, I could make this myself.
But does it have a magical paintbrush, Trevor?
I can put LEDs in a paintbrush as well. Like it's.
Yeah, I will be interested to see if this gets the kind of like I don't know. It was like a cultural moment. I feel like when like it was.
I mean, I'll admit, we went out of our way to get one of the original popcorn buckets. Yeah. My wife and I looked at this one and we were like, it's don't need it. That badly. We don't need that one. Yeah.
But for those that do want it, it is available now. So you can get this now. 2 per guest, $30, $29. But
I'm assuming somebody if Figment is like if you're an artist and you like Figment, this is obviously the the intersection of both of those things. So if that's what you want, that's fine. But you're right. I don't know that I see a lot of people lining up for this one, but I could be underestimating how much people hype over popcorn buckets too.
The 2022 Festival of the Arts, when the first one came out, people waited for 7 hours. I mean, it was a whole thing. Now, but if anybody's looking for this, it's over at Figment's Inspiration Station at the Odyssey, which also has some really cool food items. So Trevor and I talked about this on the Food Time episode. So there's some cool food over at the Inspiration Station, including that Figment cake that we were the Figment whatever it was, Swiss roll or whatever you want to call it.
Swiss roll,
yeah, like with the Figment wings on it. So go over there, get yourself a cake, maybe a popcorn bucket, and then go from there. So.
Also, one last thing on the popcorn bucket is, for anyone wondering, it will be available through mobile order in the My Disney Experience app. Right. So don't just expect you can walk up and get one. And also, it's a limit of 2 buckets per guest. Yeah, so they are trying to stop the reselling. The crazy reselling that does happen around these things. So
my wife saw a jacket on Instagram. It was a Disney jacket that she saw, and she was immediately like, I must have this jacket. Right. And I was like, okay, let me look this up and see where it can be found. But while I was looking it up, of course, eBay listings came up for this jacket. And I was like, man, I don't know how much this jacket costs in stores, but I know the markup that they're getting on eBay right now is pretty decent. There are people that make their entire living out of just buying Disney stuff from the parks and then reselling it online. And Disney's been trying to stop that for a long time. I don't know really how much they actually care about it.
They don't. Do you know why they don't?
Because they're still getting paid.
Well, no. So here's the thing: if they really cared about squashing resellers, the shop DVC website would not be. Store. It would not be as garbage as it is, and it would not be as limited as it is. And yes, I'm saying that as an international customer who has tried to use it and found that it is actually easier to go to the eBay sellers a lot of times than try and deal with Shop Disney and all of their hoops that they make you jump through. Disney, and then or whatever they call it now.
It's back to Disney Store.
Is it? I guess because they don't have the Disney stores anymore, so they can call it Disney Store because it's not confusing people, I guess. But the point is, if Disney I'm going to put it out there. If Disney cared about, stopping resellers, make your website better so that people don't have to go to the resellers.
Well, and also just put everything on the website.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
offer all of your product as online options, but Disney doesn't do that. So it creates this gray market, and here we are. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into a whole thing about this, but I'm sure they probably do that to like try to get people to go to the parks to go get these things, right? I mean, I guess they have some things that are parks exclusive for that purpose, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too, but they're not. I don't think as much stuff needs to be park exclusive as Disney thinks it does.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. So, all right, let's go ahead and do our ad, and then we got a couple other things to talk about, and we can do that from there. Okay, that sounds good. So the sponsor of this episode is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a world of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2024, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right.
So, we haven't talked about Monsters Inc. Land in a minute.
Yeah.
So this next piece is, Disney, I guess, they're planning to spend $22 million to change Muppet Vision 3D into a Monsters Inc. show, is the headline of this.
Yeah, so the Orlando Business Journal got a records request and found out that Disney's spending 22.5. Why they're looking this up, I don't know, but
I mean, it's curious, and I think if I had access to that kind of information, I saw something like this, I'd be like, oh, that is interesting.
Which is why I put it on here.
Yeah,
because it is interesting. It feels like it's going to cost more for the attraction, though, right? It seems like the $22 million is just for getting rid of to change the building, right? Like the attraction itself is going to cost more than that.
So, well, I guess, are you thinking about the roller coaster attraction? Or are you thinking about this replacement for Muppet Vision's 3D?
I just assume they're going to be rebuilding. I mean, no, I'm talking about Muppet Vision 3D. I'm assuming that they're going to. I mean, even if it's like a stage show or just like a screen show or whatever, they're still going to have to spend a lot of money to do whatever they're going to do. So I mean, I was looking at this as like they spent the money on the facade and all of the interior demolition and all of the new whatever they're going to be installing on the outside. That's what's costing $22 million. I can't imagine the attraction as a whole is going to cost $22 million. It just feels low for an attraction these days. That's all I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I was thinking about it from the stance of, that, like you said, the interior of the building needs to be gutted because it's all Muppets themed and
it's
all
old
that.
Too.
So
I mean, it probably needs to be probably needs work. I mean, honestly, it's an old building. It probably needs a lot of work.
Yeah. So there is that. And also, just because it's an old building, I wouldn't assume that they're going to do any massive structural redesigns of it. I think you're going to when this new one opens up, as usually what happens when they redo these things is you'll still be able to see remnants of oh, this is where that thing was.
Yeah.
There's still going to be stuff there from the previous attraction, but I'm assuming it's going to the kind of things they're installing is possibly 4D type effects that would be going into the show and stuff like that. But like you said, it's not. Yeah, it's not something that the entire show shouldn't cost just $22 million because I assume that if they're building out an entire show, I'm assuming it's going to be another Muppet Visions type
kind of thing,
type show where you it's or like Country Bears or whatever, where it's you go in, it's a 5 or 10 minute show, and I'm assuming it'll be like something video with a couple of animatronics or whatever. But yeah, this, now that you pointed it out, I was like, 22 million seems like a lot, but
Not
for something
Disney.
like this, it's really not a lot of money at the end of the day. So
yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying that, because like, I mean, listen, I know this is not going to be like a marquee attraction or anything like that, but it's
I'm still holding on to, like, it better be like, put that thing back or so help me, like the stage show. Like I'm really hoping that is that's what this becomes.
Or I think I maybe brought this up at a previous show. Maybe I did. Maybe I just had this idea right now. But what if they're gonna move Laugh Floor over there? Like just end Laugh Floor at Magic Kingdom. That's a huge space in Tomorrowland that A, doesn't really fit in Tomorrowland, and B, has been there for a long time now. And it would make sense to put something different there, right? And because now you're going to have a whole Monsters Inc. area. Why would you have Monsters Inc. at Magic Kingdom, but then also in Hollywood Studios? I don't know. To me, you can consolidate it all into one place, and maybe it's not Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, but it's the next iteration of whatever that is, some sort of interactive thing or whatever it may be. But I kind of wouldn't be shocked if whenever they open this Monsters Inc. land, that we hear that Laugh Floor is closing, and that they're going to use that space for something else, because maybe it's part of a larger plan that we are not aware of.
That is actually a very good point. That I don't think Laugh Floor needs to change. Like you said, they could pick it up and move it over there in its current state, because Laugh Floor really is, at the end of the first movie, it kind of plays into, they're focusing on laughter instead of screams, and it is absolutely, it's a very kids focused.
It's fun.
Show.
It's a fun show. It's fun.
Yeah. And it is highly interactive and all that. And also, I think the other thing that justifies it a little bit more is, I've been saying this for a long time, that there's not enough people eater type stuff in Hollywood studios.
Yeah.
And this would definitely be something that you could get a lot of people into and a lot of people through. And again, it's also, something for kids in a park that doesn't have a lot of young kid stuff, I find, outside of.
Yeah. I think they're clearly making an effort to make it more kid friendly. Yeah.
So, I mean, I still want to believe that they'll put that thing back or so help me as a show.
They could.
Because also, in the concept art, they mentioned that this, they're redoing the outer facade, and it's going to be called the Glob, which is play on the globe. But I guess I was thinking like it has to be like an actual like show production going on in there, but
it could
it could be Laugh Floor. It could be something where it's meant to be like more of an improv interactive thing, which I'm not opposed to. The other interesting thing though is those improv type shows. So like things like Laugh Floor, like it's been going for a long time. I have to wonder how hard it is to maintain it, because you need to constantly have cast members,
performers,
that are performing in there, right? So I mean I hope Disney doesn't ignore that, or I hope that they don't move away from that, because having that improv and interactivity, I think is very valuable. But I can also see where they could just slap in like a stage show that, like I said, like a Country Bears type thing, where it just runs, and you get people going in and sitting in AC for 10 minutes at a time is basically what it turns into.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's to your point. Anytime you have one of these theater shows, you can actually you can soak up a lot of people. I mean, I just looked it up. That theater holds 580 people for a 15-minute show. Which is a fair amount of people. They do those shows back to back. So you're talking, you could do that 4 times an hour. You're talking about over 2,000 people an hour. That's a lot of people, right? In terms of theme park attractions, right? And listen, we know Muppet Vision 3D was not popular towards the end of its
It wasn't
run,
full.
right? Like,
it was not full.
No, nor is Muppet Vision 3D to be honest. I the last like 2 times I've done it, there's been half the theater's been empty. So it's, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but it wouldn't surprise me if they decide to consolidate all of that IP into one place and then, finally do something with the rest of Tomorrowland, right? Like let's use that space that's just sitting empty where Stitch it was, and do something with the space where Monsters Inc. is, and do something that fits into Tomorrowland. Like, I don't know.
To that point, Tomorrowland does have a large amount of unused space if Monsters Inc. goes away.
Yeah.
Now that you're pointing it out. But I know that there was the interesting thing about, I didn't think about this with where Stitch was, but that show backs onto Cosmic Rays as well.
Yes.
So, because it's all the same building. So I think if something was to happen with that area, like if moving from Hollywood Studios to talking about what they would do to Tomorrowland, I think you would see some kind of reno or redo of Cosmic Rays going alongside Stitch.
You think so?
If and when that ever happens, yeah, I could see that being kind of the catalyst for that kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, Stitch is already is gone, right? Like it's gone, right?
Yeah.
Like they got rid of all the stuff that's in there, and I think one of the listeners told us that it's a cast member like break area now, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it is what it is.
I mean, but that's even as a cast member break area, like they're just using a fraction of that space. It's not that,
it's a pretty big space.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, it is definitely a big space. And I don't know. There's just a lot they can do with Tomorrowland. This is a problem they have. And actually we're going to talk about it in a few. They have this problem at the Disneyland Tomorrowland too. It's a problem with the Tomorrowlands everywhere. And listen, you want to talk about something that eats up a lot of space that probably should go at this point, and this may be a controversial thing to say, but Tomorrowland Speedway should go. Man,
I'm still holding out for Tomorrowland Speedway should just get an upgrade to
electric, so we don't smell gas all the time.
yeah. I think honestly, if they just replace the cars with something newer, I
don't know,
that isn't gas, I think that would go a long way to keeping Speedway as a viable attraction. I don't think Speedway should be taken out.
It's just it's a huge amount of space. Huge.
It is, but but it's also an attraction, and it's also like a people eater and all that. I feel like I don't know how feasible this would be, but if they could redesign it so that like loading and unloading people was quicker than what it is right now, that would go a long way to justifying it as well. But again, I don't even know what that would look like.
What that would entail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't dislike that, like it as a thing. I do. It's, and for a lot of kids, it's like the first time they get to like, drive, quote unquote. Right. Mm-hmm. But like, it just, I don't know. It's loud. It smells bad. It takes up a lot of space, and it's in the middle of Tomorrowland. It just feels like there's something better they could do with it.
So I'm defending it that, if they took out the engines, so if the engines weren't loud and they weren't emitting exhaust, I think that would greatly improve your impression of Speedway.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'm just looking at Google Maps here. It's double the space that it's in is double the size of the footprint of Space Mountain. Double.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it should be replaced just because
I'm just
of
saying
that.
There's a lot of space.
I mean, if you're going to argue that, like, look at how much space Kilimanjaro Safari takes up. You could fit like, evict all those animals, and you could fit like, six space mountains in there, right?
I'd never say that.
No. Tom wants to evict Kilimanjaro. That's what he's saying, everyone here. I'm putting words in his mouth.
Listen, I know that a lot of people will probably be like, no, it's a classic and you can't get rid of it. And that's fine. I don't disagree with that. I mean, and listen, they did announce that they were going to replace the Tomorrowland Speedway car. I mean, it's not Tomorrowland Speedway in Disneyland, but the Autopia cars, they were going to replace them with electric cars. There's no reason why they can't do the same thing here, right?
Yeah.
But
I feel like things happen in Disneyland, and it's kind of because it's smaller scale. Maybe they can test it a little bit differently or better, and then if they can get it to scale where they're happy with it, then you'll see it come over to Florida, right?
Listen, I don't want to be the person advocating to get rid of Tomorrowland Speedway. I'm just saying you could. There's a lot of space there. You could do some cool stuff, and Tomorrowland needs a redo. It just does.
I 100% agree with you. I don't think getting rid of the Speedway is the way to redo it. That's my opinion, but
it's fair.
Yeah,
a lot of people will argue with that. Valid, right? Valid.
Yep. Yeah, valid. Exactly.
No. That's a reference on Food Time, so go watch Food Time. Anyway, what were we talking about?
We're talking about Big Thunder now. I figured you were chomping at the bit to talk about Big Thunder, because
it's funny. I'm always chomping at the bit to talk, but I didn't even watch the video included in this article here. So, but they released some new details here about Big Thunder, and I'm very excited for Big Thunder to reopen. I'm going to try to get my daughter to ride it. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to try to get her there. But anyway, we know the opening time frame, right? But they've said some interesting things about it. And what was the one quote? I'm trying to find it in this article, but they said something kind of weird about
the mountain will also push back against you.
That's what it was. The mountain will push back against you. I don't know if I know what that means.
Okay. I'm wondering if the cars. No, okay. They're not. They didn't replace the trains themselves.
I think they did actually. No, I mean, I don't know. It says, it says all new ride vehicles.
Okay, so what I'm wondering, because the way that Big Thunder was structured before, the only part that, or actually, sorry, it's not just. Was it just on the one part leading up to the last lift hill where you have there's a trick track there where it makes the cars kind of wobble back and forth.
Yeah, it does that with
yeah. So I was thinking, or when I hear push back against you, what it feels like to me is maybe the cars themselves will have something in them that will make some of the turns feel worse than they are. Like it'll either lean you out or pull you in more on the turns. So maybe that's part of it, is that they've kind of taken this would be taking some notes from Guardians of the Galaxy, because Cosmic Rewind does this where like they're doing it more overtly, where the cars are turning it in certain directions deliberately to enhance certain parts of the ride, it has you facing in on certain turns and turning backwards and stuff. So I wonder if, obviously Big Thunder's not going to like the cars aren't going to turn crazy like that, but
so what they say here is all new trains, audio animatronics refreshed throughout, new effects, things that haven't been working for years they're fixing. And then they're also putting gold in there for the first time. There's going to be gold on the mountain.
Props being used on the mountain for the first time. I didn't really think about this. I guess that was kind of the whole point of Big Thunder, was it was a gold mining operation that you never saw any actual gold in. Sold in
the actual gold, yeah. They did also in this video preview some more of Buzz Lightyear too, with some new scenes and stuff too. So there's they previewed a scene of one of the aliens going up and down, and also what looks to be the new tunnel scene, which looks similar, but I think it's just look at that, Buzz is in it. Okay, cool. I'm watching this as we're doing it. So so Buzz joins you in the actual battle in the tunnel scene, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
All right.
Listen, I'm excited for Big Thunder to come back. I don't even care what they've added. I just want it to be back, and it's nice that it got brandy new tracks and new trains, and just they replaced the whole thing. It's like a brand new ride.
Now let me ask you this. So I know you're not or you like your take on roller coasters is you don't like more extreme elements
Yes.
on the coasters.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the refurb of this could push Big Thunder into a place where
No.
you don't enjoy
No,
it?
because I'm not really on the this Big Thunder's never really had me on the edge of that. You know?
Okay.
Here's the thing, Trev. I get really motion sick, specifically with that stomach dropping feeling, right? So that
Right.
specifically when you have drops, right? And so a lot of the Disney coasters, including Big Thunder, kind of eliminate that because you almost go part of the way down the hill before the lift chain lets you go. You know what I mean?
long sweeping
exactly.
drops, not like long
not
banked
like straight,
turns. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was thinking like, well, they do have drops, but it's like the Big Thunder ones. They're just those little dips that they do.
Yeah.
Like as like it looks like you're going to hit the rock and then you dip down underneath of it and stuff.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So it doesn't; those don't bother me, right? Like, and I can do that. It's. I mean, because even like a dinosaur at the very end when you take that one drop, that used to get me every once in a while. You know, be like oof, or like pirates. You know, I can deal with those. Like, it doesn't bother me to the point where I don't do them. You know what I mean? But it's like that's the kind of stuff that can get me at times. Like, it can make me feel kind of sick. So. But that's why I like a lot of the roller coasters at Disney's because you still get, some thrill out of them and there isn't that straight drop like that's going to make me feel motion sick, if that makes sense.
No, that's totally fair. I get your sentiment on that. And like, I was just asking more from like, if there was any effects in here that could potentially push it to a place where you're like, I used to like Big Thunder, but
no, I can't. Okay. They can't. No, they're never gonna. Unless they, I mean, I think no matter what they do to that ride, they're still going to go on it.
So to that point, I'm going to keep plugging you on this until your wife.
No,
you should ride Guardians, Tom. Really, there's not. It doesn't have big drops. Like it's. Yeah.
Well, here's the Guardians. I don't really have a reason for not riding, right? Because like, like the launch part is not a concern to me. I mean, like I go on Test Track and the launch is essentially the same thing. It's just backwards, right? I mean,
it's way slower than Test Track.
No, it's the same speed eventually, though. I mean, it doesn't
get to 60 miles an hour.
I thought it did. No, you're right. It gets to fit. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm thinking Tron. I was thinking
Tron. Fair, Tron. Yes, but
Tron, yes.
Guardians, though, it's
because Tron is usually the one you're trying to convince me besides Guardians. So,
well, I think you should ride Guardians before Tron. But
I don't really have a good reason for not riding it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
interesting.
Totally honest. Yeah. Okay. I don't like the evil voice going on. Like I because I don't get motion.
I'm doing some scheming now. We talked about this last night that our wives talk more than we do. Things are gonna start happening.
What does that mean?
Anyway, on to our next subject.
I'm scared now. What's happening right now? Okay. Yeah, my wife. Yeah, okay.
We'll talk later. It'll be fine.
Okay, all right. So the last thing we had in here, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Honestly, I don't think we will anyway. But there was a Wall Street Journal article that came out about a little over a week ago, with some really. And the only reason I want to cover this, Trevor, is because at the end of the day, part of why I love Disney is when I was a kid, I really fell in love with Imagineering, like just the whole of it. And that's why I'm like a nerd about the Imagineering stuff. I just am. I love that stuff. Right. And so even though this is, we don't like to cover negative stuff, so to speak, but there's some interesting things in here. Right.
I think this is good learning on mistakes that were made. I think that's the best way to frame this is, it's
we
not
kind of saw it happening at the time.
Yeah,
right?
we did. Yeah.
We did. Like we saw all these veteran, Imagineers that were leaving, right? Like, cause they were getting reported on, and like he was, when Chapek came in, he got rid of a lot of people. He, cut the budget of Imagineering and got rid of a ton of people,
Yeah. And so the whole point of this article is that it's touching on, or the title was Rebuilding Walt Disney Imagineering.
Yeah.
Which speaks to, they were having issues, this was post COVID, and also with Chapek being at the helm, a a lot of things were I'm seeing some of the highlights that you have in here through this article.
Different articles, yeah.
Is there was things that they wanted to do, like they were talking about reimagining Tomorrowland and Disneyland. There was supposed to be additional missions in Millennium Falcon. There was Imagineering wanted to create new attractions and stories and stuff, but they were told no to a lot of these things. And so the interesting thing about this, I like you said, it's not a matter of poking holes and Imagineering is terrible and we should be mad at Disney because they did this to Imagineering. This to me is, I feel that this is learning opportunities where, when we look back at, the last really 5 years of Disney and I think I touched on this in an earlier episode that, it felt like, for a while Disney was kind of spinning its wheels and both, in their movies, but also in the parks, it seemed like they were having a really hard time with, being innovative, finding that next thing and, taking risks on new attractions and stuff that even it seems like a lot of the stuff that they've been doing was very half baked and very not quite as good as it could have been. And this article does really highlight that. I think that, I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying, that, this is entirely the reason why everything that we don't like is the way it is at Disney. But, I understand it's very hard to, make decisions and make things happen when you have leadership and whatnot that are, putting you on a leash effectively. Like that's what it seems like is that, Imagineering was on a leash here for a while. But the thing, the silver lining of this, I guess, is that, I feel that, in some of the stuff that is coming in this year and, just a lot of the plans that Disney has announced, you can see things turning back around.
Sure,
right?
Yeah.
You do see that, they are starting to, even talking about the Galaxy's Edge thing earlier in this episode that, I feel like Disney is, they're starting to branch out away from, things that they tried that didn't work. And the whole Galaxy's Edge thing. Yes, I know that was, that was opened when it was under Iger, when it initially opened. But I think, a lot of the, being able to change things, expands things there. Chapek made it, Iger didn't allow for, certain things to happen either. And a lot of that is, due to climate of, how the economy is doing at the time. They don't always have budget. I know Disney has a lot of money, but when we're talking in millions and billions of dollars, they don't always want to spend money on the things that we think they should spend money on. But I think Chapek made things a lot worse in that, when somebody did have an idea, squashing it or, saying, no, we're not going to touch anything with Star Wars. We're just going to leave it the way it is because, on a spreadsheet, it's the most optimal way to do it. Is that kind of stuff has hurt them up until this point. And, now that we're seeing, small changes with it, I'm hoping it leads to, things kind of getting back to, I don't even know what would be a good example of the best era for Imagineering. There's a lot of times in Disney history where like Imagineering would really go off and
well, I still think even during this period they still did some of that, right?
Yeah,
say what you will about the Star Cruiser, that was a huge risk and it was crazy that they did it, and by all accounts was very well done.
You're right,
and very innovative. Yeah. But they, it ultimately failed. But it's they still did some of that. It's just some of those other things kind of got budgets cut and they had to abandon part of them and stuff like that. But it's just been happening the whole history of Imagineering, right? It's not just now, but it just seems like it was COVID really did a lot, and then Chapek just being the cutter that he was,
Yeah. It was kind of a perfect storm of COVID hurt things for a while for a lot of companies, but you saw, Universal is a great example of how they bounced back after COVID because, we got Epic Universe last year. And that's like, that's
they're already working on that though at the time though, right? So that was already in motion. Yeah.
Right. But
they could have canceled it.
It could have been dragged out a lot longer than it was. Like Universal, they were able to pick it up and start moving with it a lot quicker. Whereas, a lot of the comments around Disney has been like, hey, Universal built all this stuff, so much quicker. Disney, why are you taking so much longer? And I think, in retrospect, looking at things over the last 5 years, like you said, it's not that they weren't doing anything, but it was probably a lot harder to get things moving when you have somebody at the helm who's like, doesn't follow Imagineering, the mantra of it is very much, take risks, try things, and, give people space to be creative. Like that's really where Imagineering is supposed to be. But when you have somebody who's like, being like, no fun allowed unless I can see it on a spreadsheet, like that doesn't help matters.
No. And listen, if you watch the Imagineering story, they actually talk about this a lot, where there has always been, since the creation of Imagineering and after Walt Disney died, there has always been a power struggle between the creative people and the business people. The business people don't necessarily understand why you spend, $1 million on a fountain, whereas the Imagineers understand that, you need to have that fountain, there's always that give and take and that pull back and forth. And it just seems like during the Chapek era that the business people won and the creative people lost, and one of the interesting things they mentioned on here was, and this is actually an Iger thing too, and we can argue about this back and forth, but one of the pieces of this is talking about how Imagineers want to do original stories and they want to do original lands like they have in the past, but everything is IP focused, right? And that's an Iger thing, and I understand the argument against IP and for original things, but I also understand why Disney doesn't want to do it. And I mean, I think you can look at just the past couple bombs that Disney has had. What have they been? Original properties, right?
Yeah.
Like as far as movies go. But I think it also, goes for the lands too. I mean, I think it falls into the same thing. Now, it's risky to spend $500 million on a new land for something that people might not like. I mean, I heard that Elio movie was actually really good, but nobody went to see it, right? And it was an original property.
I mean,
a new thing. Like
that honestly came more down to their lack of marketing, I think, than anything.
Yeah, but I thought this was interesting because one of the things that they said is, even though Villain's Land will have characters from Snow White, Peter Pan, and Aladdin, it's not based on a specific film. That makes it the closest thing to an original Disneyland. Original land in Disney US parks in 25 years. I'm almost looking at Villain's Land the same way as I was just talking about Galaxy's Edge, where yes, it's based on existing IP, but they're creating a place that doesn't exist in any of that IP.
Yeah, and it is pretty much just like it's feeding into fandom and the popular thing, like, it's taking all bits and pieces out of popular IPs and putting them all into one place, which, like you said, it's not directly IP related, but I think the interesting thing about that too is that it does actually give them opportunity to, you don't have to build an entire land that is IP free, but you can
you can like a little bit of both. Like,
you can start with like, you can have IPs in that land, but you can also leave space for, possibly expanding something new and unique that, the funny thing is that, the whole IP thing is like, well, we have to have an established IP. Well, how do you get that established IP? It has to come from a movie or a show or something. Like the funny thing is that we have examples of IPs that started in the parks and expanded backwards into movies and such. Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion. Yeah. Respectively,
varying degrees of success there, but
but they've both done that, right?
Yes, they have.
That they started from the parks and went backwards. The hard part though is figuring out how to make those the risk of building an attraction going, I hope this resonates enough that we can make an IP out of it. But the interesting thing is you like, I don't know what the formula is for this, but it like, Pirates being its own independent thing, you know, it was, over the years, the animatronics and stuff have been updated and all that. But when you look at it on its most basic level, it's just a dark ride that happens, the track happens to be a boat, right? But it's just, you could put that dark ride in any other theme park. And there are examples of like similar dark rides where it's like random, or not random animatronics, but like animatronics themed to a certain thing, and it's like, wow, that's weird or creepy, but it's like, what makes Pirates so endearing that it got to a point where it spawned a movie franchise?
Yeah,
right. Like
it's hard to figure that out. It's hard. I mean, they even say that in the Imagineering story, that they build things and then they think everyone's going to like it, and then they find out quickly whether they do or don't, and it's just hard to know. Like it just is. Yeah. I mean, if it was easy, then every movie would be a hit and every, attraction would be a hit.
Yeah, they'd have the formula nailed down, and they would just be churning them out.
Yeah, so, it's just not how it goes, and I think that makes it hard to do original properties and end up losing all that money. So it's I don't know. I understand both point of views on that. I mean, listen, it's funny to me that Universal never gets the hard time about this, because Universal is basically all IP. I mean, now I know that they have that one area of Epic that isn't, right? That's kind of like their own thing, but like, so pretty much every other theme park is, that's that kind of theme park is doing IP, right? And it's Universal and Disney basically the ones that are doing IP. And that's, I mean, I understand why people have a hard time with it, because Disney, I mean, but IP's always been in the parks. It's not a new thing. It's, I don't know.
You actually, you did touch on an interesting point that I thought about is, I see it like, it's far more prevalent over in Asia, because they're like I've seen like in Korea and Japan and China and all that, there's theme parks that pop up around all kinds of different IPs, ones that I didn't even like expect were actually like, that should be a theme park. There's a theme park for like shows and animes and stuff that, you wouldn't expect that over here. But again, you hear about it and it's like, oh, that sound, hey, that's cool that they're doing that. I never hear the opposite of, why did they do that? Like, it is honestly weird that people poke so much at Disney for like, why are you doing everything with an IP, right? Like, it's like, well, yeah, because it's Disney, like that. Yeah, I mean, of course they should be doing that. Like, it's
someone's bad business not to. Like, like they have the most valuable IP that exists. I mean, they just do. You just look at the box office this past year. I mean, they are still leading the box office, and they're continuing.
It's such a, like, in really like breaking it down, like you said, it really is an interesting criticism people have about, like, that I get being creative and building new IPs and all that Disney should be trying to do that. But when they do something in a theme park and it's based on IP, I don't understand why there's so much hate around it. Like, is it just because it wasn't what the IP that you wanted it to be, or?
Oh, like, and that's funny. It's funny to me that Universal always escapes this criticism, like that people just go after Disney about it, especially since the IP that Universal uses is mostly not even their own. Most of the stuff that they have in those parks, Harry Potter doesn't belong to them. All the Marvel stuff doesn't belong to them. There's a Super Nintendo does. None of the Nintendo stuff belongs to them. They're just licensing this stuff out. Simpsons. There's so much stuff in Universal.
Yeah. I will say this is you can come for me if you want. The Simpsons area needs to go away in Universal.
Well, I think there was. Remember, we talked about a rumor where they were plotting that, because they're literally paying Disney for half their parks to rent out the Disney's IP for their parks.
There's that part of it, but like that area of the park, like the ride and everything, it just needs needs to go away. But
it should put it back to the Future. But that's besides the point.
That would have been better. But
But anyway, all right, let's wrap this up. I just thought this was an interesting kind of thing.
It is, yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's I know it comes off as negative, and yes, we are slamming on Chapek because we do see that he's
an easy one to kick, though. I mean,
he did hurt a lot of things. He hurt a lot of the things that we very much enjoy about the parks, and whether he did it intentionally or not, whatever. But, I think it's good, it's good to talk about these things because from a retrospective, this is how you learn from mistakes. And this is how, companies like Disney, the fact that they are, looking at this stuff and going like, hey, I feel like, since Iger came back in, they're revisiting some of the stuff and going, yeah, we don't need to like fully cut back on, creativity and Imagineering and all that because it does, it may not have showed initially for Chapek in the numbers, but we did see, towards the end of his tenure, it was having a major effect on Disney's reputation and business and all that. So, hopefully there's some lessons learned from that, like you said, for the business people who don't necessarily understand the creative part, that, you do have to concede a certain amount of, if you want this business to continue functioning, you have to allow space for creativity.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it's actually really one last thing before we do this, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things I was interested in this article, and we talked about this when after Iger came back, they brought back Bruce Vaughan, who is a pretty well regarded Imagineer at the time, right? And so he was working as at I think Airbnb or something like that. He had left during this Chapek time, right? Or it might have been before that actually, but it was Chapek's time as the head of parks. And so they asked him to lunch, Iger and Josh Giamero, who's probably going to be the next CEO of Disney as well.
Yeah, that seems to be leaning that way.
It seems going to be having, which is good because he's a parks guy, and I think that will be positive for the parks. But that's a whole different discussion. But so it says Vaughn fully expected to play a mentor role, because that was the thing that Iger started doing when he came back, was getting a lot of the old Imagineers that had left or retired and having them come back and be mentors to the younger ones, which is smart to do. But so they took him to lunch, and he was quote surprised when the conversation shifted to the plan to nearly double Disney's investment in parks, cruise ships, and related technology to over $60 billion over the next decade. And he said that blew my mind, and that's, I guess, why he decided to come back. Is to do this, to lead that. So, it's interesting. He seems like a good person to be leading Imagineering, and really is turning that around and changing things. So,
yeah. Do we want to just stop it there?
Yeah.
I think we talked about it. Yeah. Yeah. We want to wrap. Okay.
How do we get? Okay. Gosh, I just looking at the time now. Man, we've been talking for a long while about this. All right, let's finish it.
Yeah, but I mean, we always do. It's we shouldn't stifle our own conversation and creativity either, just as we talked about with the parks.
Yeah, so, of course.
Yeah. So to that end, though, we're gonna do the business part of this now, which is doing the wrap up. So, I'll start with the usual stuff. If you want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. You can send us your trip reports, or share your thoughts about things you hear on the show, all that kind of stuff. We love hearing from you. You can also find us on social media. So we are on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. We're on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast, and we're on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Also, we have our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we talk about all kinds of stuff from the show. And also just, people sharing their general experiences with Disney and Disney parks and all that. So, again, love seeing that. Love seeing, everybody having their own takes on what they're doing with Disney and all that. So keep it coming. And if you want to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.co. You can check out all of our different merch there. And again, it just helps us continue to run the show and all that. Similarly, we have a Patreon for that too. So you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out exclusive Patreon merch that it's stuff that is only available on our Patreon. And all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, as we mentioned during the show. There are conversations that happen there. People talking about refurbs at Kidani and random stuff. Sometimes Tom talks about his weather machine as well.
I talked about it one time, Trevor. Okay, one time.
Tom talks about his weather machine all the. No,
I talked about one time.
Sorry, it's still funny.
That makes it sound like I own some sort of evil weather machine where I can control the weather.
Yeah. You know how people complain about the rain at Disney? That's Tom.
Yeah, that's me.
It's not Disney controlling the weather machine. It's Tom controlling the weather machine.
That's exactly right. Yep.
But yeah, you can join the Discord to find out about stuff like that. So, So please check out our Patreon if that's of interest to you. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere that you can leave a 5-star review, please do so, because it just helps us get out to more people and find more people to enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you'll be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music. Make sure you go to our YouTube page, by the way, our YouTube channel to watch like Food Time and any of the other videos that we're going to start putting out. So check that out.
Yeah, we have videos now, so that too.
Yeah, and those are on Spotify too, and they're on Apple too. So like anywhere you can watch video podcasts too, you can watch those videos. So huge thank you to the sponsor of this episode, DVC Resale Market, and of course World DVC for being supporters over the years. Please check them out for any of your DVC needs. They're great over there. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
To a house when we had a chair, how she can cuddle is no man's affair. I look around for all the homes, found her in her sugar bowl.